meat. I put 4 pounds of fat in it, because that was 5.5, and that's 1 pound left, so it's 4.5 pounds of fat. Hey, that's just right. That's somewhere between 10 and 15% right off the top of my head. And usually people go 10 to 20% fat when they do this on venison. Anyway, now I'm gonna run it through there again just so it'll mix up better with the fat. This may actually take longer because I gotta punch all of this in. Yeah, this is gonna take just as long as it did to grind it the first time. So you gotta punch it all down in there with this every time. That's gonna mix it up good. The double run, guys, is what's gonna mix the fat and the meat good together. Actually, it's taking longer to do this, I think. The second time. Because it ain't going in this hole. You got to punch every time. Next year's gonna have to be squirrel hunting year. For this year, I didn't go squirrel hunting. And by next year, I'm gonna be needing some squirrels for the freezer. I don't eat squirrel that often, but I just noticed today for just 4 or 5 packs of squirrel in there. But this raising rabbits, quail, and now I'm going to start doing my own meat chickens. Just the rabbits and quail really cut down on my our eating deer meat and squirrels. So now we got rabbits and quail that I raise. The deer meat and the squirrels go way like brother. And I don't hunt where I used to hunt anymore. But used to, I had wild pig in the freezer. And wild pig way better than bought pork, especially when you kill it out of hardwoods where they've been eating acorns and such. It's just way better meat than bought in-raised pork. Another thing that cut down on all of my eating is had to cut back on the fried foods again because of acid reflux so bad, indigestion. Can't eat as much, cholesterol's high, so I can't eat as much fried food. We have no fish in the freezer, but I have a little spot like last year. Every time me and my wife, we love bass, so every time we wanted a little fresh fish, I could run and catch a couple little bass for us. Coach is getting a little older, so Him and Papaw have to start doing some fishing in the summer. See if we can get us some brim. We love eating brim. It's usually some of the test the brim biting right. Kids really love when you take them brim fishing. Actually, where Coach is living now, they got a little pond. He do all the fishing he wants to, especially the catfish. Now guys, what I'm about to do right now is run one last piece of fat through here, and that's to help push out what's down here. That way, what's in there that stayed in there, I know just throw away that it ain't nothing but fat. At least that's the way I do. And we are now completed with the grinding. I was telling y'all that one weighed 4. This one don't weigh but 2.5, and that one's even lighter than that. So we actually got about 32 pounds of meat, 4.5 pounds of fat. So 3 pounds of fat on 30 pounds of meat is 10%. So 6 pounds would be 20%. So we somewhere in there about that 15%. That's why I was telling y'all I really don't weigh it. I just kind of eyeball it as I go. Once you do it, you can kind of look at it. You ain't got to weigh all that out because it ain't got to be precise. Ain't nothing precise about me if y'all been watching me long enough. But now I'm gonna clean this mess up. Take that out to the outside sink. Get this mess cleaned up, and then we'll come back and I'll show y'all how I'm gonna package it. Okay guys, so I'm cleaned up. We finna start wrapping. I got some plastic saran wrap, food saver plastic wrap. First one here I'm gonna guesstimate at. Then I'm gonna weigh it, and the rest of them I'm gonna just guesstimate at. That might be a little over a pound. We're going to see. But I'm going to wrap this in that plastic wrap. I've always called it saran wrap. Yeah, that's almost 1.5 pounds. I'm going to redo that one. I don't want 1.5 pounds. Glad I decided to test myself to start out with. We're going to put that back and get a new piece of saran wrap. And I'm going to get my cutting board. Even though I cleaned this table, I just like laying it on the cutting board. Makes me feel better. This ought to be close enough to 1 pound. Yep, guys, that is exactly 1 pound. So, that's about, using my hand for a length there. Got my height going on. I'm gonna get some freezer paper right here. I'm gonna wrap one up like that. probably cut that a little less. It ain't gotta be that big. Let me recut my paper. That side ain't straight no way. Let's cut it this way. I gotta get my paper right. I need some freezer tape. That's painter's tape there. That ain't freezer's tape, Eddie. Guys, I don't have no freezer tape. There was a couple of rolls. I got some of this green painter's tape. It's supposed to stick better. Let's give it a test. This is like gift wrapping. I ain't gonna be the prettiest at doing it, but what you gonna see is since we got so much and way too big a tape, I get better than that as I go. We got way more ground meat in the freezer than I thought. So what I'm gonna do, guys, this deer burger this year is gonna be in saran wrap, freezer paper, and a Ziploc bag. Why? Because it was maybe next year before we even get into this, and it'll be going into the 3rd year. Now I know that's using a lot, but I'm still gonna be faster at doing this than I can vacuum seal, and I think this here lasts way like, well, freezer paper and the saran wrap lasts to me longer than the vacuum seal. But anyway, I'm gonna get all this wrapped up, and then I'll get back with y'all and let you know how many packs I ended up with. So guys, as you can see, painter's tape will not do this. I'm finna bag this up. I'm finna put these meat out there in the freezer. And me and my wife's got to run to town. Get the air out of this Ziploc. And that's 2 pounds. I'm gonna see how close that is. I got 2 1-pound packs in there. 1.97. That's close enough to 2 pounds. So after we go get some freezer tape, then I'll be right back, unless she's got some in the house I don't know about. Alright guys, so after going in the house, we couldn't find no freezer tape, so Sharon went run to town. And while she was gone to town, I just blocked them up and wrapped them into saran wrap. And we actually ended up with 34. And I didn't weigh each one of these as I was doing it, but I just weighed them all while I was waiting on her to get back, which she's done got back with me some masking tape. And they anywhere from like 14 ounces to 18 ounces. So I'm gonna still say we got probably 32 pounds of meat total, maybe 33 pounds of ground meat out of that little deer. Plus the back straps and the tenderloins cut up in steak. So now that I got them wrapped, I'm finna cut my paper, get me a bunch of tape right here. Y'all see I had to clean up yet again. Now if I can get this tape here, being new, if I can find the end of it. But guys, I had to go over and put it in front of the heater. Tape's cold. Just went outside and checked that the thermometer's 33 degrees. And now we the time of day that it's starting to cool back off. So 33 was the high today. I cut me a lot of pieces right here. I don't like sticking to that table good. Cold as it is in here, that table may not be dry good for when I cleaned it again. But I'm gonna get to wrapping these up. And like I said, we're gonna decide if we're gonna bag 2 to a quart bag. For some reason she only wants 1 pound out. She can open the zip bag and just get one of them out. So that way they ought to last in the freezer a long time without getting freezer burn. Now I know everybody swears by them vacuum seals, but I just don't think you get the longevity without freezer burn if you want to go into 2 or 3 years. So we're doing it this way, I know it'll work. So I'm gonna get to wrapping, guys, and I'll get back with y'all when I get done. And this is the one I've been looking for. The last one. Guys, the worst part of this whole process is right here for me. They ain't the prettiest wrapped, but they're wrapped. And now all I gotta do is get them bagged up in the Ziploc bags. And get them in the freezer. Now some of you saying, well, that's an overkill. Well, I've had ground meat wrapped just in paper. I've had ground meat wrapped in saran wrapping paper. I've had ground meat just in Ziploc bags, and I've had ground meat just in vacuum seal bags. And to me, the one that lasted the longest and didn't get freezer burnt was the one that was wrapped in saran wrap and wrapped in paper. So I figure if I do this and put them in the Ziploc bags, they even last longer. And if you wanted to make them last longer, you could wrap them in saran wrap, wrap them in freezer paper, and vacuum seal them. But I ain't doing that because my vacuum seal, I buy them by the roll, so that way I'd have to cut every bag, seal the bottom, then put them in there to vacuum seal them. So I'm going with just the Ziploc bags on these. Guys, it's getting colder, but my feet done got cold again. I know that temperature has done dropped back down. I figure it's around 28 out there right now. I started all that this morning. Skinning the deer, I actually started about 8:30ish. It's getting close to 4 o'clock. So it took me a little longer than I had planned on it to take. So if I go hunting this evening, it's gonna have to be right here close to the house. I ain't gonna be able to go nowhere else. But after doing this all day, I don't want to shoot nothing else no way. Actually, I ain't gonna shoot nothing else for myself because I'm done. So if I shoot something else, I ain't gonna be fooling with it. But guys, I'm almost done here. I hope you enjoyed seeing this. Maybe some of you hadn't done it and want to see how it can be done. Just like everything else, there's more ways to do it than how I do it. This is just how I do it. Actually, this is my first time to ever do this triple wrapping. Again, the reason I'm doing that is because we still got half this much ground meat in the freezer. Well, actually, we got this much ground meat in the freezer, but I'm going to be taking some to my mom's. So I know this won't even get touched this year unless things go really bad or ground beef gets to where we so high we don't want to buy none of that. But with ground beef, we buy ground beef and we use it. We mix it together for a lot of things. So usually what we got right here is about all the ground meat I ever put up in 1 year at a time to make it through 1 year. But when I have meat left over from the year before like I do now, and it's actually from year before last, because I actually had 2 deer processed the whole deer ground, other than the backstrap. And they were bigger deer. And like I said, now that I raised the rabbits and the quails, the deer meat's going further than it normally did. Plus, I done got older. I don't care for the deer meat like I used to. There was a time in my life, that's about all I lived off of, deer meat and squirrels. Few ducks, a couple turkeys in there, wild turkeys. That's it, guys. I'm gonna get her put in the freezer. Truth is, I'm probably finna go in the house, get me a hot bath. Cher's got supper cooked. She's been in the house today taking down the Christmas tree and Christmas stuff all day, other than having to run to town for me to save me from doing that. But I hope y'all enjoyed hanging out with me. If you did, please reach down there and give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Help my algorithm on my YouTube channel. And as always, guys, y'all come back. Hope y'all have a great day and a blessed week. God bless. See y'all next time.